Hey, good evening. It's October 23rd, Wednesday, and welcome back to Everyday Talk 24/7. I'm going to talk tonight about a passage of Scripture that probably for the last 40 years has been a rock for me. And I thought I might just go over it with you. It's an encouragement. It's 2 Corinthians 7:1. I'm going to be reading from the Bible, my New Testament here, which is probably half for 45 years. But it's the NIV 84 translation. They don't make this translation anymore. They've modified it 2 or 3 times since 1974 when this one was done. But the wording here is very helpful to me. So I'm going to stay with this translation from 50 years ago. It's one of the crazy things in our world. We have so many, and they're always changing. There's probably at least 2 or 3 updates on the NIV since then, but I really like this particular one. So let me read it, and then I'll spend some time talking about it, and probably talk about it for the next 2 or 3 videos, because it's such a pivotal passage, just one passage. Since we have these promises, dear friends, let us purify ourselves from everything that contaminates body and spirit, and let us strive for perfection out of reverence for God. Since we have these promises, dear friends, let us purify ourselves from everything that contaminates body and spirit, and strive for perfection out of reverence for God. I'm just going to break it down section by section, because there's a significant order here, and the order really is about the meaning of the Scripture, the message of the Scripture, the message of grace. Paul is summing up here a section that begins in 2 Corinthians 6:14, familiar passage, don't be yoked together with unbelievers, and then he finishes with this. So note the order here. Since we have these promises, dear friends, let us purify ourselves from everything that contaminates body and spirit. So the significance is we don't purify ourselves and then get the promises. Rather, because we have the promises, we can be in this process of growing, of moving in sanctification. And that is important. The promises of God come first. We don't have to perform to secure the promises of God. No, out of His care, His sovereign will, His commitment to us, because of what Jesus has done, He gives us the promises. Jesus has already guaranteed for us that we have them. So Paul is saying, we don't obey God. We don't seek to rid ourselves of all the garbage of this world. And we'll probably go into this in more detail tomorrow night. But we don't move in all these areas of doing the right thing, of washing ourselves from the world, of avoiding contamination from the world, and then we get the promises. No, we have the promises first. That's our hope. That's how you and I can pursue this world, life in this world. This is why we have confidence that even when I mess up, when I sin, when I do the wrong thing, my hope is still to rid myself of those things, because the promises are there. Since we have these promises. One of those promises is a little bit earlier, where God says, I will live with them and walk among them, and I will be their God, and they will be my people. That's a promise. And it's secured for us by Christ. I don't earn it. What was liberating to me about this was that even though I kind of knew it intellectually, this passage drove home for me the reality I don't have to do anything to secure the promise. Jesus secured the promise by living the perfect life that he lived. He became my holiness. First, he took the punishment for my sin. A little bit earlier in 2 Corinthians, remember we read this, that God made him who knew no sin to be sin for us. So he's done all that's necessary. You and I have these promises guaranteed. So I don't have to be in the earning business. I don't have to figure out if God's going to like me or not. Jesus has already secured that for us. So because I have the promises, now I can embark on this mission of purifying myself from the stuff that contaminates my body and my spirit. And again, I said, we'll get into that more tomorrow. But the order here is beautiful. It's comforting. We have the promises. Dear friends, so let's purify ourselves from all the junk. And then, as a result of that, let's strive for perfection out of holiness, out of reverence for God. And perfection means completeness, wholeness, and we'll get into that too. But the order, I want to focus on the order tonight as we close. Since we have these promises, they are guaranteed. Jesus has done this for us. It's what Paul tells us over and over again. It's a theme of his. He tries to encourage us with it. So even in Ephesians, he reminds us, I pray that you may know God better, that God will open the eyes of your heart to what he's called us to. I don't earn it. That's the joy of this. So be encouraged this night. You have the promises. Since they're secured, then let's move forward with being rid of the stuff in the garbage. It is so, so comforting. Since we have these promises, let us purify ourselves from everything that contaminates body and spirit, striving for perfection out of reverence for God. Such a beautiful, beautiful passage. Thank you for being here. Again, always, please love your thoughts, your feedback, your interaction. And Lord willing, we'll continue looking at this tomorrow. You have a great night. Bye-bye.